Hello everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and today I am updating you on how my reading journal is going. I don't think I have shown you the inside of this reading journal since I set it up, and so I am here today to show you. I don't really know what else, but it's probably going to be a quick little video. I'm going to chat through how spreads are working for me, and you can see how I fill in my journal. So we open up, and we have this little tip in here. I will show you that in a second. But this page hasn't changed much. I plan on writing the date of when these goals are completed, and so far I haven't completed any of them. So this hasn't changed since I set it up. Here are my bookshelf pages. Yeah, so the books on this top shelf represent all the books I read in January. Same goes for February, and this is where we are so far in March. Whoops, I haven't written this book, and usually I color it in and then wait a little bit so that the pen doesn't bleed at all. So this was The Enchantress Returns. I am crazily trying to read a book a day in March, and we are so far completing that goal. I read 5 so far, and it's the 5th when I'm recording this. So the rest of these are just blank, but I really like how this has turned out. Oh, the color. I have color-coded them. I have this tip-in, as I said. Each color represents the star rating I gave the book. So as you can see, this dark red pink is 5 stars, the light pink is 4 stars, green is 3 stars, blue is 2 stars, and this very light pink, you can probably not even see it, is a DNF, but I just realized I haven't put my DNFs on here. That's funny. I think I didn't put them on because I thought this was for 1-star books, and I haven't had any of those. I have had quite a few DNFs though. That's something I'll need to consider. Anyway, moving on. So I really like how these shelves have turned out, and it's just a great visual representation of the books I read each month. Moving on, we have the stats page where I put a little tick next to each category that the book fits into. So for format, we have physical, audio, ebook, and combination. You can see it's kind of spread pretty evenly, and I'm most surprised that I have more physical reads out of anything. I feel like audio is usually my highest format, but this proves that it's physical. We have some author stats here. We have my rating. You can see I've given out mostly 4 stars. This, I just put a tick if there's any sort of LGBTQ plus rep in the book. Then we have genre, age demographic, and the year that the book was published. So this is just a really easy, quick fill it in with some tick marks when I finish a book. My monthly reading in review, I've only filled out January and February so far because those are the only months we have completed, but I just put the amount of books read, the amount of pages read, if I completed my TBR or not, and so far I have done phenomenally by reading my full TBR in January and February. I have a little heart here for the amount of 5-star reads I had that month, and then how many books I bought that month. That's just a fun stat to track throughout the months. Here's my series tracker. I haven't completed any series yet this year, but I have made some progress. I read a couple Spy Family books. I read One and Only Ruby. I read Silka's Journey, which is the second in the Tattooist of Auschwitz series. I started Iron Flame. Let's see. I read the second in the Land of Stories. I read the first book in the Small Spaces Quartet just this month. Read a few volumes in The Promised Neverland. Read the third ACOTAR book, or ACOWAR. And what's this one? Oh, I started a new series called the Getaway series. That's like a mystery series where each book is written by a different author. The first one was by Sally Hepworth, so I don't know if I'll continue with that, but anytime I start a series, I will add it to this list this year. Here we've got all my challenges and goals. So my Goodreads goal, this you can visually see how many books I've read, and each block represents a book, and the color that the block is the genre that I read from. So I've read 35 books. Most of them have been light purple, which are fantasy or sci-fi. So that's interesting. Always fun to see the trends in my reading. Here we got my buzzword challenge. I am currently caught up through March. I read The Office BFFs, the story of, I can't remember what the actual subtitle is, but something like two friends that were there. So that's how we got the there buzzword. For February, it was positive words. So I read Good Mom on paper, good being a positive word. And March was a character name, and I read The One and Only Ruby. Here we are on my A to Z challenge, doing super well. Over halfway done. Actually 17 out of the 26 are filled, so way more than halfway. We only have 7 left. But they're some of the hardest letters. So we'll see if I can fill those in by the end of the year. Here we have my Read to Zero challenge. At the end of every month, I just check how many physical books I own and have not read and write it down. So I do have a trend of going down. I started with 244. Now we're at 242. Or in January, we were at 242. And at the end of February, we were at 235. Here's the Book of the Month Challenge tracker. I've read 4 Book of the Months this year so far. I will try to read 5 debut darlings, 4 page pushers, and 6 different genres. My self-destruct list, which this one I'm not doing so hot with. I've only read one of them, and I actually DNF'd it. So I need to focus on this a little bit more. Maybe that'll be April's goal once I've gotten through middle grade March. And then here are just some other trackers. I'm trying to read 12 books in each of these categories: adaptations, Kindle books, borrowed books, and nonfiction. Doing pretty good on the Kindle and nonfiction. Need to do a little bit better here. All right, then these are pages you have never seen before. I left some blank pages before I had my monthly setups, and I didn't know at first what I wanted to use them for, but then I realized I would love to track the book club that I'm in with my friends, and we call it the Honeybee Book Club. And so these are our books so far this year. We read Our Missing Hearts in January, Wayward in February, Where the Lost Wander in March, and now for April we will read Guernsey, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which I already know is a 5-star read for me, so I should just fill this in, but I want to see on reread if it is still 5 stars. Here's my Read It or Not challenge. Oop, you're getting a sneak peek at March. But this has been a really fun challenge for me, where I pick books off of my physical shelves completely randomly and have to read those books for a week. And if I don't read them, I have to unhaul them. So super fun challenge. I'm actually filming it this week, and this March video will come out next Wednesday. So stay tuned. A little sneaky peek of what's going to be in there. Here's January. And now, January, this cover page was, I don't know. I wanted to try to do something different, and then I didn't like it down here, and so I covered it up with horrible colored dot paper that does not match this actual notebook. So yeah, it was like a total trial and failure of what I wanted to do with January, but it was just trying it out. So here I had my deck of TBR books. I had a best and worst book of the month. And then here was a list of the 19 books that I read in January, plus some stats with them. Author, pages, or time listened, the amount of days it took me to read them. Why didn't I fill some of this in? Who knows? And the rating, and then how I discovered the book. Then I kept track of the books I bought that month. Next, I should have had readathons, but I forgot, so I just have my reviews right away. I like to print the covers of my books, and I just do that by copying a picture from Goodreads and pasting it into a Word document and printing it. and then cutting them out and using some double-sided sticky tape, something like this. Scotch Permanent. I also use like a Tombow one, but that's how I stick the covers in here. I put a little star rating underneath the book. I write a little bit about it, and then if there are any quotes from that book that I want to make note of, I write it in a different color. So this month I used blue just because it kind of went with the theme of January. I also used the theme from my actual bullet journal and use that in my reading journal. Yeah, so in January I had this snow theme. I actually got it from the book The Snowy Day by Ezra John Keats. I think that's his name. So yeah, whatever I use for my theme in my like calendar daily bullet journal, I bring it over into my reading journal. Okay, so here are the reviews, the book reviews. And then I decided to put readathons at the end because I forgot to put them at the beginning of the month. So I took part in the short stack readathon. I got a few bingos. 3 bingos. That was a really fun readathon and got my book count way up in January. And then I also did Phase Out Your TBR. Am I missing a Phase Out Your TBR this month? I know that Chris tries to do every other month with a new phase, so I might be missing out in March, but we did Phase 2 in January, and I completed these phases with these prompts and cards and books. And then this is new this year. I am trying to like draw out a stats page. Before I did have stats pages, but it was all just like written out, and I thought it'd be fun to put in little pie charts for some of the stats I like to track. So yeah, this was again the first iteration of trying a stats page like this, but still think it's cute and fun to look back on. Here we're in February, and I really love this cover page, this dashboard for February, you could call it. So I decided to include a calendar, and with this calendar, I mark the progress of a book. So this dot signifies a book, and it says book number 1, and that corresponds to number 1 over here on the books read. So Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood, I read the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and I completed it on the 6th. I also have books that I have DNF'd, and I signify that with an X and a letter. And so A was down here, the Diary of a Bookseller, I started on the 6th and then DNF'd it on the 7th. So this is just a fun way to see how my reading works and like how many books I was reading on a given day. It's kind of interesting. Like on the 7th of February, I was kind of in the middle of 4 different books at once. So just, I don't know. I like to visually see things with my reading. Again, the theme for February was libraries because it was Library Lovers Month. And so I used the library theme in my daily bullet journal and brought it over into my reading journal as well. I like this setup much better with my deck of TBR on the top over here. Books that I bought, just a teeny little section because I like to keep that small. And then the books that I read right here with all of those stats. And then I didn't participate in any readathons in February, so we just jumped right into the reviews. Again, with the book cover, the star rating, I gave it a little synopsis of the book and my thoughts, and then any quotes that I wanted to remember underneath it in a colored marker or pen. Obviously, I had lots of quotes from Good Mom on Paper. I really enjoyed that book and got a lot out of it as a mom. All right, all of these, and then I just kind of made my stats spread a little bit smaller so that I could start March on the next page. But again, I still had my 4 little pie charts for the different statistics I wanted to track, and then some core stats like amounts, full amounts for the month, and just a goals update on how I'm doing on my goals at the end of the month. And now here we are in March. I'm currently filming this on the 5th, so We're only this far into the month, but you can see I've already finished 5 books, and I left this whole page open because, like I said, I'm hoping to read 31 books in 31 days. I'm currently in the middle of just 1 book, actually, but I'll probably start another one today, so I'll have to put a little dot here and then a line for however long it takes me to finish that book. I did a vine green and yellow theme in my March daily bullet journal, so again, took it into my reading journal for the month. I had to extend my dashboard a little bit because there wasn't room for my deck of TBR on the original dashboard page, so I had 10 books in my deck of TBR for March, and then here's other possibilities because, again, I want to read 31 books, so I need some help figuring out what those books will be. And here's a long list of all the books I would like to read. And then I have a little section here for books bought this month. I am participating in Middle Grade March, of course, so here is my TBR for the prompts that the hosts have given us, and then here are some other options for the prompts, the ones that are not signified here. And the last readathon I'm participating in is Realmathon. I am in the Realm of Shadows. This is hosted by Cassidy. This is the first time I'm participating in this readathon, and it's so much fun. It's a school-based readathon, and you get points, and you can either get positive points for your team or attack other teams. And so these are the ways you can get points, and then this little tip in here is the way you can get either negative points against other teams or positive points for your team. So I like how this page turned out. And then we start with my reviews. I also added a little spot here for the Realmathon points that I will either get for my team or against other teams. And that is it. I'm all caught up. I'm really trying with finishing a book every day to fill this in every day, and I'm actually all caught up, so nothing to add here. But yeah, I am so excited to continue to fill in these pages. I think I've kind of hit my stride with how I like my monthly pages to look and my reviews, and yeah, I'm loving this new format that I have, the square notebook, and the kind of craftier reading journal that I have. So that's what we've got. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Like this video on your way out. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more bookish and bullet journaling content from me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.